We now move to our CTA report, and Ms. Tillman, welcome you to the podium. Turn for you.
Chair Lady Holly, board members, and Superintendent Yost. Tonight I have Clara Cook, former president of St. Lucie CTA, and also Secretary Treasurer for the Florida Education Association, joining me tonight. Tonight I've heard so much about purpose, reasons, collaborations, and it all sounds great. But tonight I want to talk about building level planning team, which we refer to it as BLPT. BLPT began under my tenure as CTA-CU president. It was designed to have school-based decision-making by all stakeholders. The union and the district received joint training from Stratix, a company with expertise in strategies for organizational and individual excellence, with the focus on building working relationships and developing trust. Having a common voice with the growing concern across the state in St. Lucie County, as we continue to have politicians dictate and put into law unfunded mandates that were determining our destiny. We in St. Lucie County took a bold step and decided to change the approach and culture of how we do business. Knowing that we would have challenges, we felt it was best for our school district. We had previously gone to impasse over issues and realized it had a negative connotation and impact on our educational community. The interest-based decision-making process was new. However, all parties came to the table guarded, but willing to work for what was best for our district. Did we struggle? Yes. Did we value that we develop and design something just for us in St. Lucie County? Yes. As we continued to learn, as we continued our learning, and the Stratix approach relied on a series of steps that helped us to achieve our visions and goals. It was obvious we all wanted to fix the problems and find a quick way to come to a quick solution without going through all the steps. As this training evolved, we did training with building level administrators and union reps throughout the district. Our desire was for schools to model what we had learned through our interest-based decision-making process. So we created the BLPT, Building Level Planning Teams. One of the greatest tidbits that we learned was ACBD, always check before doing. This was part of our breakdowns even on the district level, our failure to communicate appropriately, and that's what caused us to have lots of problems. The makeup of the teams at each school site was the persons would be elected by their grade chairs or department team by their peers. 2 people would be appointed by the principal and 1 by the union. The school principal is the chair of the committee. This gave a voice to those elected people and their peers at the school sites. This was not union, nor was it principal nor district elections. This happened with their peers. Guidelines were created for all to follow and establish their norms at their particular school sites. When schools struggled with the process, we provided additional training. This was an all-inclusive, transparent process. Principals and teams were afforded the opportunity to come and observe how monthly meetings were done between the union and the school district. This is a learned process that would often need to be revisited. As the district team, we also had national trainers return to reteach and retrain the process to us because we struggled as a district, because we needed to continue to build trust. Knowing the importance of our investment in our employees and creating an environment of collaboration was modeled on the district level. We went to individual schools and aided them, and as we had to respond to them, and we provided intervention, as we should. We valued this opportunity to create leadership and a voice for the voiceless in a very democratic way. In addition, problems or concerns could be addressed through collaboration and in a school-based environment with their collective minds. Do you throw the baby out with the bathwater because someone feels it's just another meeting? I say no. Do you stop the process that opens the door for those in the trenches? I say no again. Do we silence the voices of those who don't agree with us? I say no. Do we embrace and accept the voices of those who process and think differently? I say yes. Now, I say to you as board members, do you allow the district to usurp your power as a board and decide to change the board-approved BLP choice days on the school calendar? Do you, as a board, allow the powers to be to usurp your elected constitutional officers' responsibility? These are personal. These are questions you have to answer for yourself. I ask you, are you willing to make the right decision and do what is lawful and right for the school district? Do you usurp your power as board members and allow board-approved job assignments to be changed for employees without your approval? And aside from all that, this becomes very personal to me because I have spent 35 plus years here in St. Lucie County as a firm, fair, and yet consistent teacher and union leader and president. I believe that anything that is presented the right way can be dissected and studied well enough, and we can get the right results through collective minds. Tactics used that are punitive must no longer continue in this district. If we're going to make a difference and be a model district across the state. Because when we first embarked upon interest-based decision-making process, we were one of the first and one of the most successful districts across the state. And for me, that had me with my own bragging rights. And I came to the podium and I shared that with you. We're going to have to come back, go back, and look at what all of us have done. Be reflective about what each of us have done daily, good or bad, and ask yourself, what could I have done differently? We want no less than to have our ratified union contract to be adhered to and stay compliant with the law. We feel strongly that as all of you are constitutional officers of the law, of the school board, you all passionately serve the community. That includes the educational community. And in part of my research, I decided to go and look up the primary responsibilities of a school board member. And I copied and pasted like we all do. And the first thing says, set the vision and goals for the district. 2, adopt policies that give the district direction to set priorities and achieve its goal. Hire and evaluate the superintendent. Adopt and oversee the annual budget. Manage the collective bargaining process for employees of the district. I have given you all copies of our fact sheet. In addition to that, I have given you the first communication we started in 2003 with Stratex as a company and how we came to be where we are. I think oftentimes we forget the historical viewpoint. As I stated earlier, I do take it personal because, as I've stated before, I take everybody as part of my family. And you know, when you have a family, we may not agree all the time, but guess what? That's still my family. I may not even like all the actions, but it's still my family. We're all in this St. Lucie County. We're part of a district. We have to do what's right. We have to make sure we're following the law. We have to make sure that you as board members don't usurp your authority as board members and do what is right. So now my former president and the president, I'm going to say the Secretary-Treasurer of Florida Education Association is going to just give you a brief few words as to how we have gotten to where we are.
Board members and Superintendent Yost, I find myself in a rather unique position tonight. Vanessa explained how we came about this collaborative bargaining process. Mrs. Hilson, Mrs. Hensley, you will remember because you joined with us in the training, and it was quite extensive. But we all agreed that this is what we were committed to. Shortly after the training, as Vanessa said, I was elected as the Secretary-Treasurer of the Florida Education Association. We represent every county in this state. And in that position, I have a wonderful opportunity to observe other districts, to see what they're doing, to see where their successes are. And there are other districts who are working collaboratively, but none of them have had the level of success that St. Lucie County has had over the last 10 years. That's why I'm shocked that you have chosen to violate a negotiated, ratified contract. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves here today airing our differences rather than working on them together, but I don't think it's too late. Even though both sides have attorneys, you can resolve this. To use a sports metaphor, the ball is in your court as a school board in St. Lucie County. You can do the right thing. You can rescind the letter that was sent to Mrs. Rodriguez and allow her to continue in her elected position. And her members expect that she will continue in that position without harassment. You can restore the building level planning teams, and you can do it now. Both the union, the board, and administration, we have so many other battles to fight together. We have so many battles to save public education in the state of Florida and to work for the students in St. Lucie County. Just as the police officer before us talked about. He said the word collaboration so many times, and he talked about the successes. I'm saying to you, we've had successes here. Let's stop this foolishness and do the right thing. Thank you.
Now I would like to welcome Rick Poulette for the CWA report. Welcome to the podium, Mr. Poulette.
Good evening, board members, Ms. Yost, and everyone here. I'm Ray Poulette. I'm the president of Communication Workers of America. We represent, of course, the transportation workers, bus drivers, and mechanics, and food service, and so on. Everything that was just said prior to me coming up here is absolutely correct. We've had some serious, real successes in the collaborative process in St. Lucie County. Those of you who were around at the beginning, when we first started the collaboration and the interest-based here, know that the first thing that I did, the first thing that came out of me in the training was this and not this, because I wasn't sure it was going to be good enough or it was going to even work. I had a lot of doubts about the collaborative process. And unfortunately, it seems to be coming true at this point. But prior to this point, it's been quite successful, a lot more successful for everyone, the school district and the employees, than I expected. I really didn't expect the success that we have and that we have created here, and the trust and that we had for each other and with each other in this process. But I got to tell you, I think like they said, I don't think it's too late to make this work. I think we've had some serious fallbacks. We've had some serious issues. You got new people coming on board, you know, including new attorneys that unfortunately don't know what the hell they're talking about. But nevertheless, but I will say, I mean, we're having issues too in CWA. I mean, now there's interpretation of our contract as well. We can no longer file grievances on terminated employees. For the first time in the entire 12 years I've been here, we have not been able to file a grievance for a terminated employee. But we have all this time up until now. If there's an issue with or a problem out there with the way things are going or the way things have been going, that's why we have the bargaining table. We sit down and deal with it. In the collaborative process, we sit down and deal with it there before we hang somebody. That's what we do, and we haven't done that. And I just think that we can get back together. If we get back together and I think we can make this work, instead of fighting, which is, I mean, we can do it. We've been fighting. I fight everywhere else. We have Palm Beach County. We represent county workers. And we fight if we have to fight. But when we have cooperation, and you have cooperation, quite frankly, we get a lot more, a lot more stuff done, and we will in St. Lucie County. But if it's a matter now of attack instead of let's sit down and collaboratively resolve these issues, the attack is going to go bad. We all know that. We've been there before. We don't want it to go bad. I think there's a lot of hope here, and I think that there has been hope. And I guess I am sad as well, because I really was hoping this thing would work. And seeing what's going on right now doesn't look like it at this point. And I wish, maybe it's because some people need to go through the training as well that haven't been through it, things of that nature. I would suggest this, that you had a previous school board person who was here before us, Mike. You know him. He's the one that started the collaborative thing for you. He was right on target. He tried to do the right thing. The way he did it, he got everybody involved. Everybody. And everybody from the top to the bottom had to say, yes, we're in this together. If everybody is not in it together, it can't succeed. It can't. And it's not succeeding. We see that. Okay? So I think there needs to be a recommitment on the board's part, from your level down, saying we want this and we want this to work, and we want to have a collaborative, interest-based relationship together and try to work through these issues and problems without a knockdown drag-out. We don't need it. We don't want a knockdown drag-out. Hopefully you guys don't, because we can certainly do it if we have to, but we don't want to. We want to resolve this thing any way possible. So I ask you again to step up and do the right thing, and let's get everybody to the training. Let's make sure they're all trained the proper way. We're all trained the way we should be. We got new people we need to have trained. We talked about doing another training session, but nothing's come about it. And it almost sounds to me like the district has made a decision to get away from interest-based or get away from collaborative. For what reasons, I'm not sure. But I would ask you to reconsider that, if at all possible, because I do believe it works for everybody. And we've had a peaceful relationship over the last 10, 12, ever since we started this thing, for sure. More peaceful than not, we've been able to resolve issues out there through the collaborative process. And I really hope, quite frankly, pray that you all think about this. If you don't think about it now, think about it when you go home tonight. Before you go to bed, before you go to bed, when you say your prayer, talk to him about it. He might be able to help you with it. Okay? Thank you very much.